Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Tuesday edition of the JP Peterson Show with my man Tim Ham, IndyCar Tim from our Dallas affiliate, DSP Media. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Man, I'm fighting some North Texas allergies this morning.
I can see that.
15 minutes ago, I had the most violent sneezing fit I've ever had in my life.
Did you go multi-sneeze?
Oh, it was like
JP?
7 in a row, dude. 7 in a row.
Oh, I am infamous or famous with my children and anybody who's ever known me or lived with me for the multiple sneeze allergy attack.
Yeah.
Like it is like it's full on. It can go 10, 12, and it is violent. It is violent.
Yeah,
Ashley will attest to this. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's violent. Like they're like, people are like, and if you don't know me and you witness it, you're like, oh my God, what just happened to you? Like what just happened to you? And it quickly goes away. I don't have a huge problem with allergies.
Yeah.
But my brother had unbelievable allergies. But so it's bad. And I think it will kill me at some point. My heart will stop.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: as much live radio and television that I've done, which I mean by hours wise has to be I don't know, hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
I've never had it happen on the air.
Wow, that's good.
Never had it. It's probably going to happen now this morning. Now that I mentioned, but it's never happened on the air. Like I would think a 6 or 11 o'clock broadcast, and I can't stop it.
Yeah,
I can't stop it. It's just going to go for as long as it goes. So it's going to
have
happen.
I pay good money to watch that during a Rays broadcast or during a Lightning broadcast. Just watch JP over
if it
there.
happened, and it's so violent, it would knock my headset off. Like everything would just be bananas. So
I can't wait
for
that.
Ooh, I want to see this. I want to see this in action. Yeah, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. But good morning to all of you. We are this is the worst day in sports talk radio history of the year, each and every year, the day of the All-Star game, after what was, quite frankly, a very lackluster home run derby last night at Globe Life Field. Were you there?
No, I was not there. I'll be there tonight. I had 2 shows I had to do yesterday, so I did not make the All-Star, the home run derby, but I don't really care about that anyway. I'll be there tonight. So it'll be the second Arlington All-Star game I've been to, because the first one they held in '94 I was also at. So over at the other stadium. By the way,
you've had 2 and we've had Bupkis and 0.
Well, you got to get a real stadium before they'll give you an All-Star game.
Well, agreed. And I don't even know if this one passes. I'm not sure we'll want one in there anyway.
And you know what? It was really unique. Everybody that I've talked to about the whole All-Star week and all of this leading up to it, because of the configuration of the area and the literal 2 complete stadiums that the Rangers have across the street from each other, Major League Baseball has been able to utilize the old stadium, which is now Choctaw Stadium. It used to be Globe Life Park. Now it's Globe Life Field across the street, the covered stadium. And then the whole area, Texas Live surrounding it, it's just a huge tourist attraction. But Major League Baseball has been able to utilize the other stadium, the Globe, the area between it. And it's been a huge carnival festival atmosphere. It's been really awesome this weekend.
And AT&T Stadium's right there too.
And it's right there with it too. Yeah, absolutely. They share parking lots.
Wow. I mean, what a great concept. What a great complex. And for a dual city like Dallas, Fort Worth, put it in the middle. That might be no, let's put it in North Dallas, or let's put it in North Fort Worth.
Right,
you guys don't even have a peninsula, so it's not even like you can like cordon it off like we have.
Right.
And let's build another one. What a great idea. I'm not going down that rabbit hole, even though they propped Evan Longoria up this week, and it came out to throw out the first pitch and set him up with some questions, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be great." Blah blah blah. Yeah, because it's not your money,
right? Exactly. That's
and by the way, when he was here and he would talk about the stadium, he would always say it has to be in Tampa, but suddenly, not anymore.
So I'm going to throw. I'm going to
player that's ever come through here. It's like got to be in Tampa. Got to be in Tampa.
I'm going to throw an overhead view of the area here up, JP, so you can kind of see. There's AT&T Stadium on your left.
I hate you. I hate
Globe
you
Life
so
right there to the right of it.
You have 2 baseball parks better than our one.
Right across the street from each other.
Right across. You build 2, and we can't build 1. Oh my God!
I just don't understand.
Yeah, I was there for the Cowboys game, the season opener a few years ago.
So you know the area. Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's absolutely tremendous. And gosh, how many freaking interstates are coming in and out of that thing? Like 700?
Yeah. I mean, with toll roads and HOV lanes and we got Six Flags right there too. Six Flags Over Texas is right there. The amusement park. They really started the whole area as an entertainment venue back in the late 60s. But dude, it's an hour, 10 minutes from me because I live north of Dallas near Frisco over here by the Star where the Cowboys live. And it's worth the drive because it's all freeway, dude. It's just all freeway.
Yeah. And obviously it's the obvious place to build stadiums, and some places can get it right, and then there's us. So the All-Star game tonight, Itzhak Paredes will be the representative for the Rays. I don't know how many people had that on their bingo card going into it. Very interesting, and I hope he gets a chance to pinch hit. And this just in, you don't need anybody on the right side of the field. Just he's a dead pull hitter. But he might be, a late ad. I hope he gets in the game. I hope he gets announced. Normally they just go right by the Rays players. So that actually happened at an All-Star game. So we'll see tonight, and that'll be rooting interest to see if Itzhak Paredes gets into the All-Star game tonight. I was watching some of the coverage last night, and like I said, the home run derby was just pitifully boring. And our man Pete Alonso flamed out, did not advance. And he's been, a two-time winner. He has been absolutely nails in this competition. Nobody's prepares for it better, does it better. And just, you don't get into a rhythm. There's nothing you can do. It's really tough to watch actually when these guys just can't get into their rhythm of what they do so naturally. Yeah. And it's like the harder you try, the worse it turns out. Like it's ground out after ground out. It was tough to watch, but I hope he comes back. I hope he does it again, and I hope he gets another win, because when he's doing it, it's tremendous theater. The two times he's won it, I think has been some of them. I love the home run derby. I love it. I think it's fantastic. Last night just didn't have any pop to it.
There was just no drama, right? Like we had it on at the studio while we were doing our show, and so we didn't have the sound on or anything. We're just watching it. It just wasn't anything that to me was just exciting. There was no excitement. It was just kind of there.
Yeah, it was just a lot of corporate advertising on everything. I mean, I don't know why that got under my skin last night while I was watching it. It just like, the Gatorade bottles, the Red Bull, it's like,
everywhere.
T-Mobile. It's like, gee, I know it's part of sports. I get it. But at some point, it's just like, this is just one freaking commercial. That's all it is. It's like there's nothing really happening here besides product placement. I'm just, ugh. Does anybody else get that? Like I know it's part of everything now.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I love the Masters. Like it's one of my favorite events, because when you go there or even watching it, there are no corporate logos at all.
Yep. Anywhere
on the course. No CBS banners. No AT&T, no nothing, anywhere. There's the Masters logo, and that's it.
Right.
And it's so refreshing.
Well, and even at other golf tournaments, you'll have the sponsor logo, Genesis Scottish Open, you'll see Genesis everywhere. But you're not inundated, with the fascia of the stands and stuff. It's all clean and smooth looking. You don't just have, it doesn't look like a stock car, right?
It looks like a freaking carnival there last night. Yeah, NASCAR's so bad. NASCAR's the best. NASCAR's the best. As I transitioned into this, because I commented on this, somebody put on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, it's like politicians should be like NASCAR drivers. Like they should have everybody who donates to their campaign, they should have like their sticker, like Pfizer, Lilly, BlackRock. And they should have it all over their suit. They should have patches on everybody that owns them. And I'm like, yeah, that would be actually, I forget what comedian came up. I think it was George Carlin actually who came up with that. And like to take it one step further, be like when they do their interviews, it should be the same thing. Like they should talk like NASCAR drivers. Like, yeah, we got a huge vote coming up this week in the House. And, I just want to say our Eli Lilly and Pfizer and BlackRock team has really got us dialed in on this one. So we know exactly what we're going and how we're going to perform out there. We got our speech ready for the well of the Congress, and we're gonna ram this thing through and give tax breaks to these corporations like you've never seen before. So I really want to thank my BlackRock team for getting me ready and dialed in. I'm like, that's exactly what they should say.
That actually sounds pretty natural. Like I can see that totally happening.
Like they have the NASCAR guys just go up to the hill and give them like a little media training on how to do that. Just instead of STP or instead of whatever sponsor they have, just insert corporate sponsor here. That would be much more transparent too. Would actually be honest about what's going on.
Yeah,
which would be fun. Which I have to say this because I've consumed a lot of media. Nick was on with me yesterday, and we know Nick is very, very apolitical and very much against talking about anything politics. So, and I appreciate that. It gives a nice balance to the show. So sure. we love Nick for that because.
But when I'm on, it's different.
He reins me in, which is good. Which is good. We can all agree. But can we just talk about what happened Saturday and what's happened since?
Yes, please.
I watched the Trump come in last night. It was pretty incredible. It was a pretty incredible historical moment with the ear patch and everything else. And I can tell you this though, I never seen him look so tired and beleaguered.
Sure, yeah.
He did not look like his regular self. He was a little bit somber. He wasn't as demonstrative and reacting. Didn't talk obviously. JD Vance nominated as the vice president. People like calling him unqualified is just like,
yeah. Let's talk about unqualified. You want to? You want to? Come on, let's do it.
You want really? We're gonna go there. You know what? And you listen to his life story. His life story is incredible. His mother was an addict. His father left. Basically raised himself. Became a Marine. Highly educated. Just an incredible American story of coming from absolutely nothing. And he may be president one day, which is the greatest American story. It is amazing. That be that as it may.
Well, and he's from Ohio, right? Like we've got a long line of famous and quality politicians from Ohio, So, I mean, Taft,
McKinley, quality Harrison. Politicians, quality.
Okay, look, comparatively in the sector, right?
In the realm of the scum, they're the highest of the scum. Okay,
yeah, we'll call them compared to like California
until 2 years ago, 3-4 years ago, he was a political outsider, which I prefer for people holding office to not be involved, not be a lifelong politician sucking off the teat and have never held a job in your life, Joe Biden. But whatever. So, but I'm fascinated by, as I've been fascinated by the JFK assassination, in terms of historical perspectives and how everything went down, and clearly a cover up. We now know the CIA directed that, and the similarities between these two situations are incredibly stark, in my opinion, and. I still see people saying, "Oh, Trump, this is all a setup. Trump set this up," and I'm like seriously, how deranged and dumb and out of touch with reality can you be? Like, yeah, he wanted to have live bullets going into his crowd. He set that up. He wanted to have his supporters killed. That's what that's exactly, that's how he set it up. That's what he wanted to do.
Right.
You really honestly believe that. And you witnessed what you witnessed. All of the witnesses and the gunshots and everything. Hundreds of witnesses. And now there's witnesses to a second shooter, which I was like, that's the only thing missing from the JFK similarity. Where was the second and third shooter? And there was, well, according to some, a second shooter at the water tower. They keep talking about the water tower, which is interesting. But I've listened to so many experts on this, and I'm not an expert, but I listen to people and I learn from them. See how you can do that, and then you can regurgitate what you've learned. And then people, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, okay, this lifelong Secret Service sniper said in his interview that you would look, and this is common sense, by the way. If I knowing nothing about sniping went to sat and took a stand at that dais, which is what they do, they scout out all these locations months and months in advance.
Yeah,
they know where where the president's going. They know where these people. The Secret Service sends an advanced team out and they scout everything. And if you stood at that dais where Trump was standing, and that's what they do, they stand there and they look. The first thing you would do is go, "Oh, that building right there, that one. That way, make sure we have 3-4 people on top of that building. That would be the first thing you do. That would be the first thing, not the second, not the third. You'd go, okay, that building right there. We got to secure that building. Now, how is it possible that a 20-year-old just graduated from high school, a loner, Patsy, Harvey Oswald, can walk in with a rifle, not even in a case, strapped to his back, walk in in a ladder, because he used a ladder to get up there. There was reporting that there wasn't, but there was a ladder. There's video of it. Get up on top. People notice him 3 minutes before he shoots. Tell officers, and as I heard a Secret Service agent say, anybody that's in the security team, local, Secret Service, state police, anybody, they're all in the same comms, or they have a comm system. Everybody can come into the comm. And as soon as you see something, you get on the comms and you say it. And the cop actually climbed up on the roof and saw him and had a rifle pointed at him. He pointed right. At that moment, it's 911. It's whatever the code word is. And Trump is off. Like, he's gone. Like, off the Secret Service tackles him and he's gone. As soon as they see there's a shooter on the roof or anybody, it's gone. That's the way it's supposed to work, according to all these Secret Service agents I've heard, the many, many interviews that I've watched.
Yeah.
How does that not happen? And what's we have learned is it was called in, and they were alerted
by several people,
by tons of people, and it was on the comms. The shooter, the actual shooter that took him out, there's a report out there that he said, "I got the shot," and they told him to stand down multiple times. And you could see from the video, he's got him in the sights for 42 seconds.
Yeah.
That's undeniable. You see Trump, you see him on the roof, and he's looking right at the shooter. You can see him. The spotter has him. They're pointed right at him. And of course they would, because from their vantage point, he's as plain as day, sitting on top of that roof. There's nothing covering him. From that vantage point, up higher than where he was, you can see him plain as day. You could never miss that. You can't miss it with your naked eye, let alone a scope.
Yeah.
And you have a spotter there as well. So how is it that the actual counter snipers are telling me we got a shooter for 42 seconds at least? The reports are it was much longer than that as soon as he got up on the roof, and you don't remove the president from the dais, the former president. How is that? I mean, you can't come to any other conclusion. You can't come to any other conclusion, not to mention the absolute numbskulls that they had working as detail. These women, no offense to women, but those women were completely out of their league.
You can be a woman Secret Service agent and still be competent in your job, right?
Yes,
well,
absolutely.
This one was not.
They were not. They were not. And it was clear why they were on that detail. And by the way, they were not on that detail last night when Trump walked in.
May never be again.
And the fact that this Cheadle, the Secret Service woman who now is the head of the Secret Service, who clearly got her job because of her relationships with the Bidens, says she's not going to resign, is a joke, is an absolute joke.
You failed at your job, and it almost cost a former president and a future president his life.
You didn't fail.
Well, perception.
Well, you did fail because you missed.
You missed.
Yeah, your job was to clearly take him out. And you didn't. Oh, they would never do that. Look at everything they've tried. I mean, this is not, a Trump, supporter. I'm not. And will I vote for the man? Yes, absolutely, 100%, 100%. Am I, enthralled by his leadership capabilities and some of the things he does? No. Some of them, the things that he says are just, they're juvenile, they're stupid. I don't like them. But I know that man loves this country more than 90% of the people. He didn't have to do any of this. And he literally risked his life and knew he was risking his life to do this. Why is he doing it? Oh, his ego. Really? He's a billionaire. He could go play golf the rest of his life and get all the accolades he needs.
He's got a jet with his name on the side of it. I'm pretty sure that feeds the ego pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, but it's to come to any other conclusion is just not rational. It's not rational. And to know the history of this country and what they've done in the assassination of JFK, it's completely, and every time, Richard Nixon, every time someone gets near exposing the deep state, these are the things that happen. Richard Nixon was lucky enough just to be set up and ushered out of office instead of assassinated.
Instead of taken out, yeah.
But, Reagan, JFK, Nixon, and now Trump, they're not – the people that are really in charge of this country are not going to stand for it. And you think this will be the last attempt? No, it won't be. And the fact that so many people think it's a setup, and then so many people think it's okay to say it sucked. They shouldn't have missed, including that Jack Black and members of government literally tweeting it out, thinking that this is okay.
How irresponsible is that?
It's unbelievable. It's horrible what's going on. And Trump needs to turn the rhetoric down. Absolutely, he does. But what the media has done to Trump is literally they're the number one public enemy, in my opinion. What they have done and the ridiculous lies that go on and on and on. Even and I know I'll get people get pissed at me for saying even the Times yesterday in their headline, they said, I wrote this down yesterday. And you saw the CNN headlines and some of those other ones. Oh, Trump falls.
Right.
They said in the headline, it said emergency call to arms by Trump supporters. And the full quote was emergency call to arms flag wave. Flag wave. But all they put in the headline was emergency call to arms to make it sound like the conservatives are now having an emergency call to arms.
Right.
The next part of it was flag wave, but you leave flag wave out of the headline. I mean, you're the problem. That is exactly exhibit A. Why people, because 90% of people, they called to arms. They're walking up and down the street of Clearwater with rifles. That's what people think.
Because that's where
Instead
a lot
of
of people
you know what
get
they
their
do have in
news.
their hands? American flags.
Right.
It's a flag wave. But you don't put that in the headline. Why? Why? Because this is what you want. This is what you want. And it's disgusting what the media has done. It's disgusting the things that they say, how they say them, and what they do. And
Right.
this is, does Trump have a hand in it? Absolutely. Yes. His violent, I won't say violent, but his rhetoric at juvenile and insulting at times is not presidential. We don't need any of that.
Right.
But what the sacrifices that this man has made for the country is amazing in my opinion. And listen, I'm about policies. I'm about pragmatic policies. And I know what the country was like under Trump, and I know what he wants to do with rooting out the deep state. You think Joe Biden is running this country? It's another thing. You really actually think that he's running the country? You can't. As a reasonable person, you cannot connect that. You cannot. So the question is, who is? Who is? And what are those people doing to Trump? The ridiculous prosecutions, the raiding of the home. I mean, the bankrupts trying to bankrupt. I mean, all of it. This is right out of the playbook.
Yeah.
And none of it is American, and it's all unconstitutional. So it's not, to me, this is not politics. It's not right and left. I used to have lots of great Democrat friends. This is not the Democrat Party of old. I didn't agree with a lot of their policies, but they wanted what was best in their eyes for America. Right. These people do not. They want to just destroy America, and that's not politics. So we were at war. In case you didn't know, we're at war, and a lot of it, the people that we're at war with, are within the institutions of our country, and that's what Trump wants to root out. And this is what you get when you do that. Assassinated. Because by the grace of God, we did not witness a headshot. Do you imagine what this country would be like, Tim, if we just witnessed the headshot and took out President Trump?
That was the plan.
Yeah. And can you imagine where we would be today? I can't.
No, it would be anarchy.
Yeah, I can't.
I mean, you want a modern day civil war? That might have started it.
That's what they've wanted all along.
Yeah.
That's what all this chaos is about. That's what all these issues just creating chaos. If you've read the communist takeover playbook, it's all been done, and it starts with the media. All right, that's enough. I had to get it off my chest. I'm sorry, not sorry. I care about this country. I care about the country my kids are going to grow up in.
Yeah,
and you should care about it too. This is not politics. It's not politics. This is national security, is what it is.
This is patriotism. There's a difference.
Yeah, exactly. Couple of comments coming in here. Rick says the Chinese flag wrapped around Biden. Yep. John Hill, remember Secret Service as part of Homeland Security Department. Border control and security for our former president has been a joke. Job changes need to take place. I go, yeah, no, our border security. My God, Lord knows what the people that are in this country right now have no idea. And if a 20-year-old kid with no training, and by the way, now there's nothing. The FBI has his phone, and there's nothing in his phone at all. Shocking development.
It's all from the FBI.
He's a 22 and he has no social media presence at all. By the way, saw this on Twitter this morning. There's a BlackRock commercial produced by BlackRock. He's in the commercial. They went and shot at that high school.
Really?
The shooter is actually in the commercial. There's a cutaway of him, and they're doing like a little vignette on a teacher that has spent his life helping kids, and it's like one of those corporate things that make you feel good about BlackRock when they're just it's just total propaganda. And there's a cutaway of him from BlackRock. Like what? Starting to connect it, and this dude has no social media presence at all.
Wow. And
you can't, but FBI can't get into his phone. And then when they got into it, there's nothing to see here. Really?
Nothing to see here.
Really? Boy, I trust that, don't you? Oh, okay. Well, that FBI, you know them. They're on top of it. Jeez. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. All right. I wanted to talk about this before we get to Scott Reynolds here in a few minutes. I did want to talk about Steven Stamkos. Steven Stamkos penned a heartfelt goodbye to Bolts fans in the Players Tribune, and I literally teared up. Reading this. I wanted to hit a couple of the excerpts from it, and right at the beginning, he talks about the morning after they won the Cup in Tampa, and the second one, and his son Carter gets up and he gives him his cereal, his alphabet cereal, so he could eat it out of the cup. And there's a picture of him eating his alphabet cereal out of the cup. I mean, it starts with that, and then it goes on to these other recollections about when he was injured and how Tampa had his back. And he talks about all the the medical people and the support that he and his family got when he went through a lot of these really horrific injuries and the rehab that took place. He talked about the bonds with the fans. He talked about when he first got here, how Marty St. Louis had set the culture of accountability, and he carried that forward, and how there was never, and when it was for the betterment of the team, guys would say what had to be done and say when that needed to be said. Right. And he carried that through. And I think it's a huge part of winning, when you have such a camaraderie that you can say things to the other guys that, and they don't take it as insults. They don't take it as being critical, like, or you're an a-hole. It's like, yeah, you're right, man. I got to play better. And that's when you have that type of culture, that's what breeds championships. He talked about it when his wife had a miscarriage during COVID, and he was in the bubble and he couldn't come out of the bubble. And he went, I'd talked things in there that I didn't know about. And can you imagine during the whole bubble thing and how he was trying to get back to play, and on that incredible iconic goal that he scored in the only shift he played in those playoffs, he actually ripped the core muscle right before he took that shot, and somehow got the shot on net and scored a huge goal.
Right.
There's so many things in there. And at the end of it, he said, he goes, God, it chokes me up. He goes, I never thought I'd have to do one of these. It doesn't quite feel real that I won't be a Bolt fan this fall. But over the past few years, I've had this really deep sense of how lucky I was to be one for 16 years. So I just want to share memories and say some thanks to everyone who has been part of this journey. I mean, it's heartbreaking. It's literally heartbreaking. And it's going to open the wounds that were opened up a couple of weeks ago that you started to heal. He says, the past few weeks have been bittersweet. I never thought this day would come. I did everything I felt I could do to make it work, but sometimes things just happen. It didn't work, and I'd be lying if I said it wasn't heartbreaking. But my family and I were human. You know, Tampa is home. It's where our 3 kids were born. It's where our memories are. It's always going to mean so much to us. Oh, man.
Well, but you expect that, right? I mean,
I do, but it just, I don't know. Me reading it just hit harder. It just hit harder.
You know him personally. You have a personal relationship with him, right? I mean,
yeah. And I just, I understand, and we've talked about this, and he's, there's a team better on paper. Yes, they are, but
you can't let emotions get in your sports heart, JP.
I know.
It's business. It's a business.
I know. Could you found a way to keep him?
Put him on the 3rd line down there, right? Or hide him on the 4th line.
All right, we got to take a quick break. Scott Reynolds is up and ready to go. We'll be back with Scott. We'll talk some Bucs offensive line when we return. Stay with us. Summer is here, and it's the perfect time to shine with the exquisite June birthstones, pearl, alexandrite, and moonstone at the Golden Diamond Source. Each gemstone carries its own unique significance and style, making them perfect for any summer occasion. Did you know the 30th anniversary milestone is pearl, the traditional stone for this special occasion? And right now you can enjoy 5 years of interest-free financing. That means you can own a stunning $5,000 ring and pay only $83 a month with 0 interest for 5 years. That's a great deal. And shop online and get 15% off the June birthstones. And we love our partners, local businesses that have been here for 40 years. That's right, the Golden Diamond Source has been here for 40 years. Julie and Steve Weintraub have done so much in our community. We thank them, and we shop there. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Happy summer. As we head into summer and hurricane season, you must make sure that your home is fully insured. Over 40% of people in Florida are not fully insured because property rates have gone up lately. Your home is worth more, so it needs to be insured. Call the great folks at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799 to make sure you're fully insured. And also, you might just save some money. There are new companies coming into the state all the time. In fact, we just shopped our homeowners insurance, and I'm telling you, folks, we saved over $550 because Charity, the great customer service at Italiano Insurance, did all the work and found us a better company and a cheaper company. She'll do the same for you. 813-877-7799. Do something about these high rates. Shop them around. Could save you lots of money. It's Italiano Insurance, been doing business here locally for over 60 years. 813-877-7799. Tell them JP sent you.
Hey, Tampa Bay sports fans. This is 2-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the U.S. Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right. That's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Geddes Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
JP here for TryHydrateHeroes.com. That's our new website where you can get a free 3-pack of the great Hydrate Heroes electrolyte hydration drink, all for free. Just go to TryHydrateHeroes.com. We'll send you a 3-pack. While you're there, go ahead and buy the 30-pack for just $29.99. Special going on, less than $1 a serving. For all the good stuff, none of the bad stuff. Folks, a lot of these hydration drinks have tons of sugar, tons of calories. Hydrate Heroes, just 5 calories, and they have all the electrolytes in there, plus other stuff that's going to benefit you. A mushroom blend that will help with inflammation. So much other good stuff in there. none of the bad stuff. It's Hydrate Heroes. Go to tryhydrateheroes.com and get your free 3-pack. The new tropical punch flavor is out, and it is fantastic. They'll send you some. Just go to tryhydrateheroes.com. Get all the information there. Pick up a 30-pack as well. Tryhydrateheroes.com. All the good stuff, none of the bad stuff.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Back to the JP Peterson Show here on this Tuesday. Thanks to the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com, and Bay Area Modern Medical Center for being our sponsors and all our great sponsors. All right, let's welcome in our good friend, Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report. We are T-minus, 9 days to training camp? 8, 9 days?
No. Hit the rewind button. I just still need more summer.
Sorry, it's over.
Yep, it's gone.
Hey, big news. FSU's going into the Big 12 with Kansas State.
Come
you
on.
don't want none of that smoke.
Come on.
Come on. You don't want none of.
Come on.
I don't think it's going to happen, but as I've kind of been pondering it, and if Clemson, North Carolina, Miami come with us, it's just ACC plus. We get rid of all the deadwood and bring in some really good teams, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think what we needed to do is stop putting numbers in conference names, right? Like the Big 10 is not 10, or has it been for a long time? The Big 12, it's closer to 20 than 12. I don't know. I think I'm just for like getting rid of the numbers and names.
Yeah, that sounds.
Just call it something.
Well, and we need to get rid of the geographical locations as well. Clearly,
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
I think you should name them after notable like athletes from the area, right? Like call it the Woody Hayes Conference or whatever, the Nick Saban Conference, whatever. Just,
would the Woody Hayes Conference logo be him like hitting a fan, like swinging? Like would that be
a fist?
Would that be logo? Fist of the players.
That'd be great. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott, I have a question for you.
Well, I was going to say real quick, the funny thing is people wrote off the Big 12 for dead when Texas and Oklahoma were going to leave. And surprise, it's
surprise.
We took Colorado, both Arizona schools, Utah, BYU, and still kept full-fledged, and also Utah, and still kept a full-fledged Power 4. We're not down to Power 4 now.
I don't know.
Conference prestige, and then adding those schools from the ACC would only just make this the
very national conference. Yeah, it really would.
Yeah.
You'd have two of the last. Well, two teams have won 3 of the last 11 national championships, so that would be important. You can't. I think it's just funny that people are like, oh, nobody wants Florida State. I'm like,
no, but do people say that? Nobody says that around here.
Paul Feinbaum does. Yeah.
Well, does anybody listen to Paul Feinbaum?
A lot of people do, actually.
I know.
Unfortunately.
But the very regional Southeastern Conference is they say they are not interested in adding any other teams, which I did not. I did not. When Greg Sankey said that yesterday, I think he's being absolutely 100% honest. They don't need to. They got all they need.
Yeah.
Why would they look elsewhere? But the Big 10, and I think the Big 12 will certainly be interested in some of these other teams. So
away we Oklahoma and Texas are in for a rude awakening.
Yeah, they are.
The SEC. And Texas A&M and Missouri found that out the hard way. Nebraska found out leaving the Big 12, where they were kind of the big dog, and going to the Big 10. They've done nothing but slide down the ladder.
True.
Ever since. I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't pay to move. Sometimes it pays to stay right where you are.
Well, financially, it's paid off for A&M big time. I mean, obviously. And then A&M got spoiled
because they needed the money.
Their first year, in the SEC, you had Johnny Manziel win the Heisman, and you go 10-2.
Yeah.
But since then, it's just been crap. So, but it would have been crap in the Big 12 for A&M too. I don't really care where they go.
Yeah. It really is more about what you're doing. Although Texas did go into Alabama and beat them last year, so
double digits, right?
Yeah. So
that won't happen this year.
No, I don't think that was before Jordan Milroe had figured out how to play quarterback too. So
exactly.
But I can't wait. I mean, SEC Media Days is here, and I can't wait for college football, and I can't wait for the NFL. I mean, as we transition, Scotty, this now becomes, I think, one of the most anticipated seasons for Buck fans.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they're all highly anticipated. Obviously, the Brady years were, but This just has a special feeling to me because I feel like this team and Baker Mayfield as his leader is so, in tune with this community. They are symbiotic. And I feel like, the offseason has been perfect. By the way, where's our boat parade? We were promised a boat parade.
Tristan Wirfs has not signed his extension yet.
Oh,
that's the asterisk.
Details.
Jason Light will tell you.
He's going to be a hold in.
Detail.
Yeah,
do you have any reservations about that at all?
No, I don't. I mean, I'm not saying it's 100% going to get done. There is a chance because he is under contract this year. There's a chance they could say, Tristan, play really, really well this year, and look what we did for Antoine when we kind of made him play in his contract year. And the difference is Antoine Winfield Jr. was the best defensive back in the NFL last year, like no question about it. I mean, he was an all-pro. Like, there's no question about it.
But he wasn't considered that before the season.
No, he wasn't. That's why he had to go there and prove it.
Right.
And Tristan Wirfs is not the best offensive tackle in the league. He's one of them, right? But, I mean, I'm curious to see how dominant he becomes in year 2 at left tackle because that was a transition year last year. He did give up 5 sacks last year, transitioning from right to left. And he dealt with some injuries last year as well, the shoulder, the ankle. So, this team might sit there and say, hey, we gave you a massive pay raise because of your 5th-year option. You're making $18 million per year right now. Like, that's a lot of money compared to what you were making before, which I think was single-digit millions, right?
Yeah.
On his rookie deal. So he's gotten a massive raise. And I think that let's put it this way, they want to get it done. It was almost done, and then the whole Penei Sewell thing screwed up put the gum in the works.
The whole market,
yeah. So, because typically what you do is what you do with Winfield, which is, all right, we're going to make him the highest paid safety. Now let's make him the highest paid DB. We'll give him like $125,000 more than Jair Alexander, right?
Right.
And that's kind of NFL protocol. That's what you do to give the guy the temporary bump and make him, for a minute, the highest paid defensive back in the league. What the Detroit Lions did was they didn't do that approach with Penei Sewell. They did not give him a slight little bump over Laramie Tunsil. They gave him like $3 million more per season with more in guaranteed money. And so that's not like a little bump. For example, Rachaad White is making less than $3 million this year. So you think, what's $3 million? That's not a lot of money. That's how much Luke Goedeke, makes, or I should say less than what it's more than what he makes, but Goedeke makes less than $3 million. Rachaad White makes less than $3 million. That's your starting running back and your starting right tackle. Cody Malcolm makes less than $3 million. That's your starting right guard. So it's easy for us to sit there and look at this with a Madden type lens and say, this is just kind of, fantasy football money essentially, but it really isn't. I mean, those millions of dollars we're talking about, the difference, it's a player, sometimes two players. So we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if a deal gets done. I also wouldn't be surprised if they just say, we want to pay you, you want to get paid, we want you here, you want to be here, but we just can't agree on the numbers. So let's play out this year and see what happens. I think the chances are slim that happens, but I wouldn't put it at 0 either.
Scott, let me ask you this. So Wirfs contracts, year 1 back in 2020, he made $610. Yeah. 2021, it was 1.3. In 2022, it was right at $2 million. Last year, it was $1 million. Why wouldn't the team have, instead of picking up the 5th-year option at $18 million, why not renegotiate, do all this a year ago before that kicks in and sign him to a 3-year deal for, 12 or whatever to save some money?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think even back then he wouldn't have played for 12 because 12 wasn't the going rate, and Wirfs had already established himself as one of the best offensive tackles in the league. He did that as a rookie. So
do you think he wants 18 for long term though? I mean, 18.
No, he wants more than that. But I'm just saying, it's like if you're talking about $12 million right per season, that's way below market value. So I think if they had come in at the prior to last year and said, hey, we'll let's do this for $24 million per year, right, for 4 or 5 years, there's a chance that maybe he would have taken that because that's just under Laramie Tunsil money. But now it shot up. I think it's gone from 25 to 28 million.
It's going to be 30 soon.
Yeah, it's going to be 30 soon. So, and you know what? at least there is that template, that model that the Buccaneers say, look what Antoine Winfield Jr. did, right? He went out and balled out and exceeded what everybody thought he would do, and we rewarded him for that. We made him the highest paid defensive back.
Right.
So
we had to.
Yeah, we can make you the highest paid offensive tackle in the league, but you have to go out there and earn that distinction. You can't be the Pro Bowl fill-in, right? Just because Trent Williams is in the Super Bowl, now you're in the Pro Bowl. It's like, no, you got to go out there and have a Pro Bowl season, have an All-Pro season. You've shown you can do that at right tackle. Mm-hmm. Now this will be year 2 at left tackle, so you've got a year's worth of experience there. By the way, you're 5 years in the NFL period, so go out there and show us that you're worth that level of money.
Right.
Otherwise, we think maybe you're closer to $25 million, where Laramie Tunsil is. So
if I said 12, I meant 22. I may have said 12. I meant 22. Yeah, no, I'm sorry about that.
Well,
but
I think the problem here is, not problem, but the opportunity is there, with this new salary cap, these deals, they're going to go up, 5-10 million more maybe than the last biggest deal, because the cap's going up, not just this year, but will continue to go up.
Right.
20-25 million. So, but in these contracts are going out 4 or 5 years. So the numbers have to reflect that. The agents certainly will tell you that. So when they look so big, people are like, oh my God, you're going to pay him $30 million a year. Well, in 3 years, when the cap is $100 million more than it was when you signed this, it's not as big. It's all kind of relative. So I think we got to keep that in mind. And which is why every one of these new deals are going to be records for their position group.
Oh yeah, sure.
And that's okay. And that's okay.
Same premises with Winfield, right? Like that contract's not going to look like that in a couple of years.
Right. No, I mean, in 2 years, he'll be the 10th highest paid defensive back, and it won't take that long. So you got to keep that in mind as fans, because sometimes they think, oh, do we overpay him? Well, you're using the old scale in your head, and the new scale, especially 2 and 3 years out, is completely different.
Yeah.
So
here's a prime example, right? The Buccaneers, they picked up the 5th-year option for Vita Vea. He actually never played on it because they got that extension done in December of 2021, I believe.
Right.
And at the time, he was in, I want to say, the top 10, maybe the top 8 in terms of defensive tackles. They paid Vita Vea $17.75 million per year. Now, at age 29, that's a bargain.
It's a
because
bargain. Right.
He's the 15th ranked defensive player of the year. And let's go from the highest. The highest is Chris Jones, who's 30. He's a year older than Vita Vea. $31.75 million. And Vita makes $17.75 million.
That's crazy.
And Chris Jones is a hell of a player. Don't get me wrong. Right. But let's go down to Derek Brown, who is not a good pass rusher. Very good disruptive defensive tackle for the Carolina Panthers. Still very much in his prime at 26. But he's making $24 million per year. Yeah. So, I mean, that's $6 million more than Vita Vea. And Vita Vea is a better pass rusher.
Yeah, no question.
He's got 12 sacks in the past 2 seasons. So, I'm just saying, it's like that Vita Vea deal, it looks really good right now.
Which is all the more reason I think you should sign Tristan Wirfs now.
I agree.
Because the price is today's price is not tomorrow's price. Like if they wait till after this season, because if I'm a betting man, he's going to be an all-pro left tackle.
I agree.
You're going to have to pay more. So
I agree. Well, it's a matter of like, what do the Buccaneers, and this kind of is where it gets over my head, because I'm not good in math. We've talked about this before. My favorite Jimmy Buffett song is "Math Sucks," but this is like a Mike Greenberg level question,
right.
And sometimes when he talks to me, like I literally pass out because I can't grasp all of this stuff. But it might be a situation where they would rather have Tristan Wirfs at $18 million this year because it helps them strategically, because any unused cap money this year can roll over into next year. And that's something Mike Greenberg does, is he'll stash a couple $1 million each year in December and not use it. Mm-hmm. And then he'll roll that over. So, we've got, you can carry it over. Like your vacation days, if you have a job where like, I didn't use all my vacation. Well, they go into next year. So that might be a situation where they're okay with not paying Tristan like the big money this year, and they'll take that and they'll have a couple $1 million left over, and they'll roll that into next year. So when they do have to pay him a little bit more, that difference has already kind of been factored in, if that makes sense.
Right. All right, we're continuing our preview this today with our look at the interior offensive line. which is obviously, I would think, really at this point, the biggest question mark on this team in terms of who's playing where. I think there's, we're still saying that Robert Hainsey is the starting center. No. Graham Barton's going to be the starting center because Graham was running like second team in training camp, and we're like, okay.
I wrote an SR's Fab Five column, which is my Friday column. I've been doing it for years, decades, actually.
Fabulous.
And I kind of implored the Buccaneers, hey, stop the charade.
Exactly.
Right? Like, if you want Graham Barton to be your center, just make him your center.
Right.
I mean, you usually do that with your first round picks, right?
Right.
You just say, we drafted him, he's going to be the guy. But yeah, you're right. There was like this little charade during OTAs and minicamp. We're going to rotate centers. It does not benefit Graham Barton one bit to snap the ball to Kyle Trask. It just doesn't.
Or the team. Yeah, what are we doing?
You want to get him some snaps on the side or before practice with Kyle Trask in case a catastrophe happens. Sure, go for it. But you need that relationship between Baker and Graham Barton to be as ramped up as possible for the Washington Commanders. Why do I say the Washington Commanders? Not just because it's week 1, but Tim, as you know, keeping a close eye on the NFC East, find me a better defensive tackle tandem than Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, right? Oh, and by the way, they drafted Johnny Newton from down the street in St. Pete here, the Illinois defensive tackle, at the top of the second round. So he's going to be a player. The Bucs loved him. He would have been the pick if not Graham Barton. If Graham Barton hadn't been there, they wouldn't have drafted the Oregon center. They would have drafted Johnny Newton. That's how much they love Newton. So this guy can play. So they've got 3 really good defensive tackles in week 1 against a rookie center in Graham Barton and a newcomer at left guard and a second-year right guard in Cody Mauch. So that interior is going to be under fire from week 1. And so you need to get Graham Barton as ready for that game as possible. Get him as many snaps with Baker Mayfield so those guys are finishing each other's sentences. That's the chemistry that you need for week 1 in September. And so I wrote that column at SR's Fab 5 saying, end the charade, just name him the starter. And I got multiple texts from people high within the organization saying, oh, internally we have. So,
yeah.
Well,
it's good confirmation,
and I wonder why they do that, but whatever. They know team camaraderie and
here's the thing too. I think part of this is Graham Barton's so humble, and he's such an upstanding guy, and he's like he's even said in his last press conference at the rookie minicamp on day 3, or not the rookie minicamp, the mandatory minicamp. He said, I don't want to be handed the job. I want to go out there and earn it. So maybe they're like, okay, fine. We'll have a competition in OTAs where there's no pads and no live hitting and all of this. But damn it, Graham, you won the job, man. You air blocked Kalijah Cansey and Vita Vea so well. We're just going to make you the day 1 starter in training camp, son. Yeah. And I think that's maybe how they sell it to him.
You look really good in your uniform. So, you're the starting center.
You did. You looked hella good in that jersey with your shorts on.
But the rest of the guys around him, I mean, we got Cody Mauch. We talked about him, saw him a couple months ago.
He's bigger. He'll be better.
He's bigger, much bigger, I think.
Yeah, he is.
He'll be better, and I thought he had some really good moments last year. Inconsistent, as most rookies are.
Yep.
So I think they got a good one there. But the left guard is still up in the air. Sua Opeta, I think, is probably got the lead right now. Yeah. But Evan Klein, who they drafted, a lot of people love him. He could be somebody that maybe comes on late in the year. Where do you think they go there?
I think with Elijah Klein, they're probably, going to redshirt him because he's actually been getting snaps at right guard more than left. And I think what Todd Bowles and Liam Cohen don't want is second-year right guard, rookie center, rookie left guard. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not going to help Baker Mayfield.
That's a lot.
Especially against teams that have formidable defensive fronts. So I think that much like we saw last year with Matt Filer, one of these veteran guys, Opeta or Bredesen, is going to be the starter. And then you're going to have at least a veteran guy who's been in the trenches and has been in battle, et cetera. Yeah. Then you got a rookie, and then you got a capable, athletic second-year right guard who went wire to wire, started all 19 games. So to me, I think that is, that's what is going to happen. I think they're going to go with either Opeta or Bredesen. I think Opeta's going to get the job. Now, it doesn't mean that like Elijah Klein can't factor in at some point, right? We saw Aaron Stinney end up starting. Granted, Filer was injured, but when he got healthy, they decided to keep Stinney in there. So I wouldn't be surprised if Klein maybe makes a move. But at the same time, this is a big jump from UTEP to the NFL. So I know he fared well against Oklahoma. That was kind of a standout game for him. But this is like 17 weeks worth of Oklahomas, right? When you're a UTEP guy. So
yeah,
I think that unless push came to shove, unless Opeta was just really good, Bredesen was really bad and kind of on par with Klein, I don't know that Klein has a chance this year. I think he's redshirting and he's taken some snaps behind Cody Malk at right guard, and then we'll see what happens next year.
All right, before you go, obviously the big news this week and tragic news, and Bonnie Kiffin's passing.
Yeah.
Shelton Quarles is going to join us here in a little bit. He played for Monty and worked with Monty as well. I know you knew Monty.
Great.
Yeah, I know you knew Monty very well as I did, and the family. Just your thoughts and memories of the one of one, man. He's the most one of the most unique people I've ever met in my life in many ways.
So here's the interesting thing. John Gruden is the all-time winningest head coach in Bucs history, 57 wins. Tony Dungy, who he passed, has got 54. Monty Kiffin has won more games as a Buccaneers coach than anybody.
I didn't know
111.
That. Yeah.
Think about that for a minute. 111. That's 13 years in Tampa Bay. And again, I'm not good in math, so I'm not going to try and embarrass myself here. But you would have to be a head coach to come in and 111 wins over 13 years. So you got to coach at least 10 years in Tampa.
Yeah.
And have at least 10 wins a season. Right. And then you're still not there with Monty.
Your math is spot on. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
how many 10-win seasons have we had in the franchise history?
Not many.
Not many.
Probably not that many when you add them all together.
Yeah.
But like that's what you're talking about here. So when you look at the legacy Monty Kiffin had, you can look at the 2002 defense, and you can look at the Hall of Famers. The Bucs have 5 Hall of Famers. Kiffin coached 4 of them: Brooks, Sapp, Lynch, and Barber. Okay, he made the nickel cornerback a weapon. He understood how to use players. He understood that Rondé Barber can do more as a weapon inside on passing downs. Now, he's good. We're going to leave him outside, right, on, against the Herman Moores, the Randy Mosses, the Chris Carters and stuff, even though he's undersized. We know Ronnie can play outside. He's a damn good corner. But, man, we move him inside on third down, now he's a weapon. Now he can blitz, and we can help the run support game and all that. Shelton Quarles, who's coming on next, right? Shelton Quarles was a hell of a good outside linebacker, Sam linebacker. You had Brooks at the Will side and Q at the Sam side. But then he moves him inside to become the middle linebacker during the Super Bowl year. It's just a genius move. That's just understanding your personnel.
It's such a huge key spot in that Tampa.
Yes, huge key spot. It's Hardy Nickerson's spot, right? And after Hardy, they didn't really have a good. They went through Jamie Duncan, I guess later, and guys like Nate Webster. But Shelton Quarles was, cerebrally, if that's a word. I'm going to make it a word.
Super smart dude.
Super smart dude. He was on par with Nickerson in terms of just the football IQ part of it.
Yes. Yeah.
And then the physicality part of it too. I want to say Shelton is ranked 4 in terms of tackles, 4th or 5th, and
still has the longest interception return.
That's right. 98 yards. Yeah. So, Monty Kiffin also oversaw the most sacks by a Buccaneer team in any season, 55 in 2000. The Bucs have not hit 50 in any year, even under Todd Bowles. They've come close. 55 sacks in 2000. Oof. That's still a record. The Bucs had 31 interceptions in the regular season only. 31 interceptions in 2002. That's still a single season franchise.
And another record. 5 in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I think they had one in Philly, I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, they had one in Philly. I think, you're correct.
I think I remember that play.
3 in the Super Bowl, right? So just a ton more. Then you look at the coaches that were under part of his tree. You know, they call it the
yeah.
Dungy tree, but it's also the Kiffin tree. He was the defensive coordinator. Herm Edwards, Lovie Smith, Mike Tomlin, Raheem Morris,
Rod
Marinelli, right? I mean, and then you look at the defensive coordinators that are, Joe Woods, who is an assistant. Joe Woods is the defensive coordinator for the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Todd Wash, who was a defensive coordinator under Gus Bradley's the other one. Gus Bradley, Jaguars coach. He was a defensive coordinator under Gus Bradley. He was the defensive line coach that replaced Marinelli in Tampa, and now he's the defensive line coach in Carolina. So the footprints are still there for all of these guys. Joe Barry is the run game coordinator and the linebackers coach for the Miami Dolphins now after getting fired from Green Bay.
Yep.
So there's so many players in the Hall of Fame, coaches that are still coaching today. Raheem Morris, second stint as a head coach now.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing legacy. The last thing
a lot.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say about Kiffin too is this: he was the fire starter for the Buccaneers. He was ultra energetic all the time. That's why he and Sapp were like this. And he knew how to use personnel. He knew how to present the information. He was always engaging. He never ran out of energy. His coffee cup was never empty either. He always had coffee going, and just an absolute treasure. But I think when you look at the legacy of wins, no Buccaneer coach has won more games than Monty Kiffin, and I don't think any Buccaneer coach will ever win.
That's a great point.
111 games unless you find Tampa Bay. Like your own Mike Tomlin or somebody.
And let's just be honest, during that stint, it was mostly defensive wins. Sure. That's what it was. So
that's why John Gruden in 2002, he lands there. And I remember, let's set the table real quick in 30 seconds here. Gruden doesn't get acquired via trade until I want to say February 17th.
Yeah,
okay?
Late.
And he was not allowed to bring any assistants from Oakland.
Right.
So Gruden had to assemble an entire offensive coaching staff with coaches he'd never worked with before, teach them his offense so they could teach it to the players that he had never coached before.
Right.
Oh, and free agency starts in 3 weeks. Then the draft is like less than 2 months away, right? So Gruden had a ton on his plate. He said, "Hey, Monty, you got the defense, man. I'll get the offense."
Yeah.
And he treated it like two head coaches. Kiffin was the head coach of the defense. Gruden was the head coach of the offense. He trusted
smartest thing John ever did.
Absolutely. And he took it one step further. He said, "You know what? You guys think you're a good defense, Tampa Bay, and you are good defense, but you're not a great defense because great defenses score 9 defensive touchdowns." And that's my charge. He didn't say 9, but he says they score defensive touchdowns. So he challenged them to score 9 defensive touchdowns because Gruden had the foresight to say, my offense is not going to be ready for week 1.
Right.
It's not going to come on until later in the year.
Right.
And sure enough, that's what happened. The Bucs defense carried the way until that offense came together, came to life at the end of the season. And, the rest
won
is
a Super
history.
Bowl. Yeah.
Got him a ring. Yeah, got him a ring.
Incredible stuff. Hey, Scotty, thanks, man. Appreciate you. Pewter Report,
guys.
Get the podcast, and of course the best training camp coverage coming up next week. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Without further ado, let's bring in the aforementioned Shelton Quarles, the Super Bowl champion under Monty Kiffin. Good morning to you, Shelton. Now player personnel.
Good morning, JP.
Director of football operations.
Morning.
For the Tampa Bay Bucs. How are you, partner? You're looking
I'm
good.
doing well. How are you guys?
Oh, fantastic. Tragic news last week. But a man that, boy, he lived a full life. 84 years for Monty Kiffin, and he did not get cheated.
No, he definitely took advantage of his years on earth.
Yeah. What are your remembrances of Monty? And we'll get to some of the specifics later of how he moved you to the middle there for that Super Bowl season. What are your most favorable memories of him?
Well, initially coming into the organization as a young player, just listening to him speak in the meetings, I never knew exactly what he was trying to get across and what he was saying because it was like, and that's all I heard. And so you try to you get one word here, one word there, and try to piece it together. And then I was like, Brooks, what was he saying? And then Brooks would kind of explain it because
he would translate.
To understand it.
He would translate. He was speaking Monty, and he translated for you. Oh, that's hilarious.
He always started everything with, God dang it. and then he started mumbling from there.
Oh, that's a good Monty too. Well, very
That
well
was
done.
good.
But very quite unlike your Vanderbilt professors, right? Not quite the same tone.
No.
But as we talked about last week, he was the mad scientist. Like, and I think that's just such a great description of who he was, because he reminds me of that Back to the Future Doc Brown character. I mean, the same people. And so it sounded crazy, but it was real genius, was it not? Can you kind of put that into words?
It was, the thing that he made sure was that we had a way to cover every potential thing that the offense could run against us. And if it didn't work out and we couldn't run it, then we wouldn't run it until we could handle any shift, any motion, any personnel grouping that was out in the field. And we would practice it and walk through. And it's different times now today, where you can only be on the field during the off season for 4 hours a day. Back then we'd get there at 6 in the morning. We wouldn't leave till 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And that was during the off season.
Right.
So it's a little bit different. So we had tons of walkthroughs. I can remember him throwing clipboards and kicking stuff, hitting coaches and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun times being around Monty.
Hitting coaches?
Yeah. I heard you guys Scott Reynolds talking about Joe Woods.
Yeah.
One day we're doing a walkthrough and Joe Woods was actually holding up the cards for the walkthrough, and the personnel was incorrect. And I remember him throwing a football and hitting Joe Woods in the mouth with it. And so it was pretty funny at the time, but he apologized to the entire defensive team at that point.
Oh, you got any other great Monty stories?
One of his favorite things to do was for him to play that the Saints song when we're playing the Saints. Dun, 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 and he'd get up there and do his little dance. And then he also liked to have Vanna White. We had one of the girls who worked up front. She would come in and she would play Vanna White, and he'd put something on the board, and then like you pick a letter and she'd write the letter down if it was up there and move on. So he always had her come in a nice dress on a Saturday morning prior to us departing for our game. So that was a pretty funny time.
Yeah, keep your interest. And, we talked a little bit about this week, and Rondé came on and talked about how, and he mentioned that what you just said about he had an answer for everything. And he would literally spend the entire offseason, if he got stumped on something, somebody ran something that caught you guys, he would spend like the entire offseason and figure out how to defend it and then come back and tell you guys. And that level of commitment, did it give you a sense of confidence that every time you went into a game that you were just uber prepared and there was nothing that was going to surprise you?
With all the walkthroughs and the time we spent in the building, we knew we were prepared for anything, any offense through us. And he did a great job. He would come in after games and go straight to the facility, and he wouldn't leave until that Friday night. So he slept at the facility. I think he slept in Rich McKay's office, the GM's office, on his couch. And he only left on Saturdays to go to the game. And then after that, he was back on Monday. So he would be in the building Monday through Friday. And he would do his little run down West Shore.
Yeah.
And he was always
running all the time.
I got to make room for my pops. And his pops were, I think, beer. So he would have a couple beers and do his run and looked like he was about to die, but he would still be out there sweating and running.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Shelton Quarles joining us here.
I might have to start using that code word when I'm on the air.
Pops, have a couple pops.
Hey JP, sorry, I got to go take a break. Go get a pop.
Yeah, we say that all the time. I think that's a Minnesota word. I think
very north. Yeah.
When Monty came to you before that 2002 season, I guess it was, and moved you to the middle, what was that conversation like? Were you surprised? What was that like?
I was very, very surprised, but they kind of prepared me for it prior to that, because I started out as a weak side linebacker behind Derek, but I started out behind Hardy in the middle, and then they moved me behind Derek because I was moving too fast for middle, and then they cross trained me at the strong side linebacker spot. So in 99, when we had a vacancy at that position, they moved me to starting strong side linebacker after we played Kansas City in the preseason. And so went through that season, and towards the end of that season, Hardy got hurt with something. And so I was also cross-training at Mike on nickel. So I was a strong side Sam in base, and then I was starting Mike and nickel because of Hardy being out. So I kind of got a taste of it of all three positions over the course of my career, and I actually played all three in a few games because of injury at the same, So so I kind of had an understanding, but it caught me off guard when they said they want to move me to Mike, but my voice wasn't prepared for the Mike position because I'd never had to talk too much. I didn't have to say anything, but when you get in the middle, you're making close calls, you're telling people what to do, you're calling games, you're doing so a lot of different things that my voice wasn't ready for. So by the end of camp that year, the offseason program, I was actually hoarse. So it took me a while for my vocal cords to understand, hey, you got to be ready to spit out whatever needs to be said. So, but I enjoyed playing a position. He saw something in me that I actually didn't see in myself. So he's a great evaluator of talent, just like Lovie Smith, my position coach at the time.
Shelton, so many people have talked about Monty as a human, and just, how the relationship that he built with all of his players. What was special about his relationship with you?
Just him being honest, being genuine, and just helping me understand the game and slowing everything down. I'm a very cerebral person, so just making sure I understand where everybody's going to be in front of me, everybody's going to be behind me, will allow everybody else to do their job at a high level. So when we called cover two, I knew that I was running the middle of the field regardless. And, so our safeties never had to worry about anything over the middle because they knew that I was going to be there 1 yard outside each hash and nothing was going to get behind me. And so they could sit on the deeper routes on the outside because they knew I was going to man the inside. So he just taught me the intricacies of the position and allowed me to play fast.
That 2002 defense will go down as one of the best in the history of the game. Why were you guys so great? And what in that preparation for that San Diego Super Bowl, going up against the Raiders, the best offense in the league that year by far, put that whole thing together, that season, how good you guys were and how prepared you were?
Just think that we had a good understanding of where we were. I go back to what Coach Marinelli used to say, our defensive line coach at the time. He said, we're only going to be as good as we're going to be if we're good up front on both sides of the ball. So it all starts up front. So we knew that if we were able to get pressure, then it would create issues from a timing standpoint, from the quarterback to the receivers to the running backs. And so, and then you've got a Hall of Famer in Derek Brooks and the Hall of Famer in front of him, Warren Sapp. They control that side of the field where they're on the tight end side or the weak side. You knew that if you came off fast to get to Derek, then Sapp was going to make a play. If you hung on Sapp, then Derek was going to make a play. Then you got Rondi at the nickel. And, so we had Lynch at the safety position. So we had a bunch of key players at each level of our defense, which allowed us to be great. And so with our pass rush, guys getting off the ball, getting pressure on the quarterback, he's got to get rid of it. He can't hold it. So that creates opportunities for interceptions and turnovers.
Well, Sheldon, as I mentioned, you are the director of football operations there, and this is an incredibly anticipated season. You've had an amazing offseason with the draft and being able to bring your players back, which is better than bringing in other players, in my opinion. Continuity wins in this league. How excited are you about the prospects of this particular team? And do you love the fact that everybody's picking the Falcons to win the division? That's right where you guys want to be, right?
Yeah, well, we're excited. We think that we brought in a bunch of quality players that will help contribute to what we have as an offense or as a team. We got Barton out of Duke, a center. Maybe pencil him in as a starter. I think he's going to be really good. We got Braswell coming off the edge as an edge rusher. We got Tyke that can play nickel, safety, so he's going to be really good. We've got a burner in Jalen McMillan. He's going to be good whether he's playing outside or in the slot. We got Bucky Irving.
Can't wait to see him running. Play.
So it's going to be awesome. And then we got some competition with Elijah Klein and a tight end and Devin. So. And then we've got a bunch of young guys that have an opportunity to contribute as well as undrafted free agents like myself. So I think those guys have put in a lot of good work during the offseason. I just saw a bunch of guys on the field just now. We probably have about 15 to 20 guys on the field working out right now.
Oh, wow.
I've been here the entire time we've been off. So we've been off since June 13th, and I've been here 7 days a week, every day, except for about 3 days in the office. And I've seen guys around working out and putting in work. Even on the 4th of July, I saw some guys in here working out. So the guys are bought in. I think we got the right group of guys to do some amazing things this year. And so hopefully everything pans out the way that Jason and John and Rob McCartney put the group together. So we're looking forward to seeing these players compete and get the pads on.
What do you think about that Kalen DeLoach kid from FSU?
I really like him. He actually came into my office
that was coming.
About a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and asked me what he need to do to make the team. I say it all starts with special teams. You weren't drafted. You're not penciled in as a starter. I said do the best you can do on special teams, and then they'll see what you can bring to the team from a special team standpoint, and then the rest will be history. Like me.
It's got to be kind of gratifying, right, to see these undrafted guys come in and make their mark on the team and make the 53 and then go on to have a little bit of success, right? Because you experienced that obviously as a young player.
Yeah, it's important, but they've got to understand that where it all starts, and it starts where you contribute. So you're weren't a first round draft pick, so you're going to have to contribute and play at a high level on special teams. And one of the things that we had when I was here, we called them the Big Four, and we had 4 linebackers that played primarily special teams. And our coach at the time always said that we have 4 linebackers on the field at a time for a reason on special teams, and we need all 4 of you guys to show out. And so we showed up every week and played well, and that's why we usually let the league and special teams play, because of the 4 guys that played on special teams.
There you go.
Linebackers.
That's awesome.
There you go. You went to the Canadian Football League, if I recall, right? You played up there.
BC, right?
Yeah, I played in Vancouver for the BC Lions.
Nice.
It was great. I loved it. That's God's country up there.
A little cooler too. Nice.
A little cooler, a little more rain, but I mean, you got the beaches, you've got the mountains, you got snow, you've got salmon swimming upstream in the middle of the city. So it's very clean. They don't even call it Vancouver anymore. They call it Vancouver because there's so many Asians.
I've never been there. I've heard great things, but I gotta get up there. It's a beautiful place, I've been told. Hey, Shelton, thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it. Congrats on all your success. I'm sure, by the way, I'll tell everybody, Saturday, 1:00, Indian Rocks Baptist Church in Largo. It's going to be the services for Monty. I'm sure I'll see you there. So thank you for taking the time.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it,
Thank
Shelton.
you.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Shelton.
Shelton Quarles right there. Great dude, great player, man. Loved watching him play, and just covering him, and always a great interview too. Always go to him after the game, and he always give you a very thoughtful interview. Wasn't a loud talker, but super intelligent guy, and that's why I'd hate to lose him, but he's going to be a GM soon, very soon. Somewhere.
It's funny. He mentioned something that I think the regular fan or a lot of people that watch football maybe don't understand is how important the middle linebacker role is on a defense. Right? I mean, you're the quarterback. You're the one that gets the plays inside your helmet. Yeah. You're the one barking out the calls to the rest of the defense, and that can be kind of a jarring experience if it's something that you haven't been accustomed to doing, especially somebody undrafted, that didn't come up doing that. And, to make that adjustment and for him to be successful at that, that's just a testament to how great he was.
Yeah. And not any, no surprise that, he's had such great success after his playing days as well. All right, let's take a break. I want to remind you folks of our new sponsor this week, Third Generation Services, AC and Plumbing. My good friend John Rodriguez is the owner there. They've been in the plumbing and AC business since 1995, and they built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units, so you might just need a drain cleaned, so you better get an honest one. And that's the great folks at Third Generation Services. They've been in Tampa for 3 generations. So check out all their 5-star Google reviews. Just Google them, Third Generation Services. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024, 813-961-8024, or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Back in 3. Stay with us.
You're listening to The Strike. 102.5 WHPT HD2 Sarasota, Tampa, St. Pete.
JP here for HydrateHeroes.com, the great electrolyte hydration drink that has all the good stuff, none of the bad stuff. NFL players are using this stuff. All types of athletes are using it because it's got 5 calories. None of the bad stuff, all the good stuff. All the electrolytes are in there for you. And also amla fruit, which is a terrific additive in there. The mushroom blend helps with inflammation in your body. Definitely has helped me with my knees. My knee pain has gone away almost exclusively since I started drinking Hydrate Heroes. Folks, it makes a difference. I love it. Professional athletes love it. You will love it. The new Tropical Punch flavor is out. Go to tryhydrateheroes.com and get a free 3-pack. That's tryhydrateheroes.com, a free 3-pack, and get the 30-pack while you're there for just $29.99. Tryhydrateheroes.com. You'll love it.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is 2-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the US Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right. That's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Gettys Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Gettys Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
Summer is here, and it's the perfect time to shine with the exquisite June birthstones, Pearl, Alexandrite, and Moonstone at the Golden Diamond Source. Each gemstone carries its own unique significance and style, making them perfect for any summer occasion. Did you know the 30th anniversary milestone is Pearl, the traditional stone for this special occasion? And right now you can enjoy 5 years of interest-free financing. That means you can own a stunning $5,000 ring and pay only $83 a month with 0 interest for 5 years. That's a great deal. And shop online and get 15% off the June birthstones. And we love our partners, local businesses that have been here for 40 years. That's right, the Golden Diamond Source has been here for 40 years. Julie and Steve Weintraub have done so much in our community. We thank them, and we shop there. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Happy summer. As we head into summer and hurricane season, you must make sure that your home is fully insured. Over 40% of people in Florida are not fully insured because property rates have gone up lately. Your home is worth more, so it needs to be insured. Call the great folks at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799 to make sure you're fully insured. And also, you might just save some money. There are new companies coming into the state all the time. In fact, we just shopped our homeowners insurance, and I'm telling you, folks, we saved over $550 because Charity, the great customer service at Italiano Insurance, did all the work and found us a better company and a cheaper company. She'll do the same for you. 813-877-7799. Do something about these high rates. Shop them around. Could save you lots of money. It's Italiano Insurance, been doing business here locally for over 60 years. 813-877-7799. Tell them JP sent you.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we roll through here on a Tuesday morning. Great to have Scott Reynolds and Shelton Quarles on. And I'm getting jacked up for this football season. All the, the different shows are coming out now with their lists and quarterbacks and everybody else. Baker Mayfield not listed in the top 10 by the Jeremy Fowler list, which comes from officials and GMs within the league. Not surprising. I don't think there's any quarterbacks on that list that necessarily I would put Baker over. But it doesn't.
I can think of one.
What's that?
I can think of one.
Number 10?
Yep.
Dak Prescott?
Yep. I'd put Baker over Prescott.
Really?
I don't think he belongs on any top 10 list. And what's funny? I went on a Raiders show a couple weeks ago, and they're asking me about Dak because they're maybe looking for a quarterback. And they were asking me, Raiders fans, man, they're kind of interested, maybe, Dak's contract's up, he's going to be free agent. We'd love to have him here in LA or in Las Vegas. And I'm like, be careful what you wish for, brother. Cause we used to think the same thing here in Dallas. And he's like, oh, really? And I said, they said, where would you rank him? And off the top of my head, the only thing I could think of to say was somewhere between 4 and 16 is where I would put him.
Well, I mean, if he's 4,
I know, but they said, well, that they laughed because that's a big. I mean, I did that on purpose. It's a huge, broad, range. And I said, but I'm leaning more towards the 16 than the 4 these days, And they were laughing.
I'm sure you're not a big fan of paying him $60 million a year in an extension.
So I'm going to contradict myself a little bit and say yes, because while I don't think he's the guy right now. Mm-hmm. And if you want to keep him, because I don't know who else I'm not going to go say, let's let Trey Lance be the starter. Cooper Rush certainly isn't the guy, but he's our guy right now. And if you want to keep him, you got to pay him 60. Is he worth it? No. And I use the word worth it all the time when I talk about contracts. Nobody is worth $60 million a year. Patrick Mahomes is not worth $45 million a year, but that's the market value. That's what you have to pay. So that's how you have to think of it in those terms.
Well, I would say Mahomes is. Because he's
but
proven.
I'm talking about worth, though. I mean, nobody is worth that much money.
We're talking about on a human scale. No,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Worth that
so I hate when people say, "Well, he's not worth that." Well, no one is. But that's if you want to keep him.
I think if we're talking about salary cap worth, is he worth $60 million in salary cap dollars that precludes you from going out and using that money on other players?
Well, but what's the salary cap going to be in the next 3 years? Like, I would love to know what that number's. We just talked about it earlier with the Bucs.
It's going to go up. I just go by what the media deals. They said the media deals doubled in this last round, and the money escalates every year to the league.
Correct.
And the players, get roughly 52% of the revenues. So that has to go towards salary cap. So, my dumb math says if the total revenues are going up and they get 52% and those revenues have doubled, then the salary cap has to double within those commensurate years. So it's going to double from where it was at about 190 to, close to 380 in what I think that last deal was for 6 years, 6 to 8 years, somewhere in that.
Right.
So yeah, it's going to go up considerably every year, $20-30 million. So yeah, it's going to be in 3 years, going to be at least probably 90 million higher. And so the salaries have to reflect that. So 60 million is going to be 5 years ago, 30 million.
Yep.
So
if you want regular, I told the guys in Vegas, if you want regular season wins, Dak's your guy. He's probably your 5th best quarterback. You want to win in the postseason? Dak's probably the 16th best quarterback in the league. I don't want him there. Baker Mayfield and Dak Prescott have the same amount of postseason wins.
Postseason wins, right?
They both have 2. And Baker's looked better in the postseason to me than Dak has. So,
and postseason is obviously the measuring stick because that's where legends are made. And what I don't understand is this anointing of Jordan Love. I know he played really well at the end of last season. 21 touchdowns, 1 interception, I think, in his last, 8 or 9 games.
Right.
And that's great. And he played fantastically well and certainly torched the freaking Cowboys.
Yeah.
But I've seen this before. And you give an off season to these defensive coordinators and defensive geniuses and players to learn the tendencies of a team. And obviously personnel is going to change as well.
Yeah.
You got to do it for a couple of years before I anoint you as a top 10 quarterback. And people are talking to him as a top 3 quarterback. I'm like, you're out of your freaking mind. Like, he may be in the end, but I would bet not. I think he's really good. He's got a lot of great intangibles and tangibles, but let's slow the roll on Jordan Love a little bit.
Yeah, and see, I still think, and I said this during that draft, I think eventually Jordan Love will be the best quarterback out of that class. That includes Tua, Justin Herbert. I like
Justin Herbert on that list as well. At number 5?
Yeah, that to me is like, I know he's not as bad as he's been because he hasn't had a coach. I want to see what he does under Harbaugh, and I think he'll improve. I think they'll probably make the postseason. He might even get a playoff win this year. but I need to see him do it for a couple of years. It's no different than Josh Allen, who was what, 3 on the list?
3, yeah.
3. I mean, he's got 5 postseason wins, but he's never been to the Super Bowl. But look who he's played and lost against. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, right? That's his kryptonite.
Right.
So, but
and he loses Diggs and Gabe Davis this year too. That's a big hit. That's a big hit.
Yeah. Don't look for another East win or title by the Bills this year.
Do you? You think another win?
No, I said don't look for another East division win for the Bills. I don't think
the Dolphins.
I think it's the Dolphins. I think the Jets beat the Bills this year in the division. Oh. And I hate the Jets because I hate Aaron Rodgers, but there you go.
All right. You want to talk a little golf?
I mean, I wish we had somebody that we knew anything about golf that could come on and talk golf with us. But
first of all, dude owes me $50 from this last weekend. That's all I'm saying. So, what a great welcome.
Thank you. Great intro. I appreciate it. Just pay me my money and that's it. That's it.
By the way, I'm contractually obligated.
He should just go F you and just turn it on. He did. He said, F you guys, I'm leaving.
I am contractually. Look, now he broke his camera. See, when he starts playing with technology, this is what he does. Even on our show, just ends up breaking his camera. See, he had to pop out. He's going to have to come all the way back in now.
I think he did it on purpose, and I would have too.
By the way, I am
what we deserved.
I am contractually obligated by FanStream Sports and DSP Media to introduce him as PGA of America member John Gerber whenever he's on the air.
Well, yeah.
But usually I'm drunk and I can't pronounce it right.
Since he screwed up, let's take a break. And then
he's coming back. Yeah.
Let's take a quick break. Come back on the other side. We'll talk some British Open. Get your bets ready, folks. John Gerber, who's been red hot, had the winners the last couple of weeks. And except for Sunday's matchup. First time I bet, by the way. But everything else, he's been killing it. This guy knows everything about golf and betting. The best in the business. Quick break. We'll have him on when we return. JP here for HydrateHeroes.com, the great electrolyte hydration drink that has all the good stuff, none of the bad stuff. NFL players are using this stuff. All types of athletes are using it because it's got 5 calories. None of the bad stuff, all the good stuff. All the electrolytes are in there for you. And also amla fruit, which is a terrific additive in there. The mushroom blend helps with inflammation in your body. Definitely has helped me with my knees. My knee pain has gone away almost exclusively since I started drinking Hydrate Heroes. Folks, it makes a difference. I love it. Professional athletes love it. You will love it. The new Tropical Punch flavor is out. Go to tryhydrateheroes.com and get a free 3-pack. That's tryhydrateheroes.com, a free 3-pack, and get the 30-pack while you're there for just $29.99. Tryhydrateheroes.com. You'll love it.
Hey, Tampa Bay sports fans. This is 2-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the U.S. Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right. That's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Geddes Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
Summer is here, and it's the perfect time to shine with the exquisite June birthstones, pearl, alexandrite, and moonstone at the Golden Diamond Source. Each gemstone carries its own unique significance and style, making them perfect for any summer occasion. Did you know the 30th anniversary milestone is pearl, the traditional stone for this special occasion? And right now you can enjoy 5 years of interest-free financing. That means you can own a stunning $5,000 ring and pay only $83 a month with 0 interest for 5 years. That's a great deal. And shop online and get 15% off the June birthstones. And we love our partners, local businesses that have been here for 40 years. That's right, the Golden Diamond Source has been here for 40 years. Julie and Steve Weintraub have done so much in our community. We thank them, and we shop there. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Happy summer. As we head into summer and hurricane season, you must make sure that your home is fully insured. Over 40% of people in Florida are not fully insured because property rates have gone up lately. Your home is worth more, so it needs to be insured. Call the great folks at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799 to make sure you're fully insured. And also, you might just save some money. There are new companies coming into the state all the time. In fact, we just shopped our homeowners insurance, and I'm telling you, folks, we saved over $550 because Charity, the great customer service at Italiano Insurance, did all the work and found us a better company and a cheaper company. She'll do the same for you. 813-877-7799. Do something about these high rates. Shop them around. Could save you lots of money. It's Italiano Insurance, been doing business here locally for over 60 years. 813-877-7799. Tell them JP sent you.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. As we get ready to talk a little golf, we'll remind you that the Rogers Park Top Tracer range is now open. Yesterday was first open to the public. We gave you a sneak peek last week. You can play all the great golf courses around the world virtually and right there at the range. We play Pebble Beach. You can play St. Andrews. You can play Royal Troon, which is also on there. You go out there, $25 to rent the bay. Balls included, food and drink, and it's awesome at Rogers Park. So check it out. The new Top Tracer golf range at Rogers Park. Go to rogersgolf.net, rogersparkgolf.net, and reserve your bay now. All right, let's talk some golf with our good friend, PGA Pro, the great John Gurr. PGA of America Pro. Did I get that right?
There it is.
That's it. PGA of America.
Here's Johnny.
I would and tell all the folks that 2 out of the last 3 weeks you've picked the winner in Gerber's bets, 55-1 and 25-1. So you are the man. You're red hot, and you're here to talk about the Open Championship.
The major that shouldn't be a major.
We still consider this. We can't say the Open Championship. It's still to me the British Open. It's the British Open. I don't care what anybody says.
The Open Championship.
I love it.
Golfer of the year.
It messes up these last 2 weeks. Kind of mess up my personal life because I'm either coming in at night when these things just start, or I have to get up so early to watch it. So I gotta pick and choose my balances and my what I do. But certainly, yes, last 2 or 3 weeks have been great. We had 55-1 winner in Cam Davis, and then 2 weeks ago, Davis Thompson. We didn't have the winner last week. It was a rough week for us in terms of that, but certainly profit.
That was my fault.
You give me the mush. That's what we call in the betting. You mushed me. Yeah, that's what we do.
I did.
But we tell this people all the time. This is why it's important that you follow the system every week and just not jump in and out of the gambling. And I know it's hard to do, but whether it's $1, it's $5, $10, if you play the system every week, and if you look going into, up until 3 weeks ago, we were just barely over the plus mark in terms of profit, but we are to date now 51, 21, and 6 in matchups. So we're still super hot with the exception of last week, and we will blame you, JP, for the matchups.
If I bet on it, it's a loser. So,
but
I'm going to bet again this week, though. So I'm listening to what you're doing. I'm following your matchups, and I'm betting again this week because averages tell me that we're going to make it up this week. So
yeah, and profit almost even after a lackluster week last week, we're still over the $7,600 unit mark, however you want to say it, however you play it for the year. And like we said, going into up until 2 weeks ago, we were kind of around that even number. So that's why it's important that you follow every week. We're going to continue our hot streak this week at the British Open.
All right, let's go. So let's get into it. Royal Troon is the venue. Played there 9 years ago now. Was our last Scottish trip. 9 years it's been. What a place. And just, it's the epitome of Scottish golf. The heather, the rolling terrain. It's links golf, and it's played on the ground, not in the air. And there's going to be advantages to that. So I'm sure many of your picks are guys that know how to play this style of golf, correct?
Yeah, certainly. And I think this is, of all the courses in the Rotary, I mean, I certainly don't think it's as hard as Carnoustie. And I don't think it's as beautiful and thing as Murfield. I think those two come to the top of my mind when you look at that. But I certainly think it fits that mold of true traditional links golf. I mean, there's some really cool nuances. I mean, you got a 120-yard par 3. It's going to play probably every bit as hard as the longest hole in British Open history at 620. So you're having a hole that's going to play 120 yards. It's going to have a higher score per par than a long hole. So the cool part about that is there's so many different kind of ambiances and nuances. You have the 11th hole where you have to wait a little bit because you have the railroad tracks going by, and they'll tell you to wait for the tracks. And some guys, when you make that turn on 10, that's when the hard part, the backside, is certainly harder depending on the wind. And some guys after the front 9, and especially after 10, they might want to jump on those tracks to get hit by one of those trains because they know what's coming if they don't get off to a really good start on that front side.
Well said. Well said. And we can go back to last week too, and probably one of your picks this week, Bob McIntyre, Scottish native.
Good day, mate.
Yeah, what a freaking story that was. And watching that at the end, coming down the end, he goes 4 under in the last 5 holes, including an eagle at 16, and drops a 20-footer on 18 for the win. Like the last roll, it rolls in, and he wins his National Open. That was freaking awesome. Talk a little bit about his performance last week.
Yeah, certainly. I think he got for having a Scottish guy win his national championship. I don't think that's happened till Colin Montgomery years and years ago. Mrs. Doubtfire won that, I think maybe 25 or 30 years ago.
25 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the last person that's done that since her or him or whatever you want to call him. But definitely, I think he really benefited on the drop that he had. I don't know if you watched that part. There's good breaks and there's bad breaks, and this break certainly. I don't know if you saw it, but he hit it in the heather, and he was certainly pitching out on the par 5. There was no way he was advancing. He could barely find the golf ball, and he went in to take a practice swing, and as he got his stance, he felt his feet on a sprinkler.
Yeah,
on a sprinkler head. And you couldn't even see it. You couldn't see the ball, but that's the benefit of a break that he had. So he got free relief, and from that relief, he hit it to 6 feet and made eagle. So certainly some of those turning points.
Scottish gods were looking over him.
That's right. No doubt about that. But if you look at that break, you certainly need those breaks. But I don't, since the last person that's won the Scottish Open and the British Open back-to-back week was 2013 and Phil Mickelson. And I just think there's just so much pressure for him going back-to-back to week. He's not going to be on our card this week. I just don't see it for me in terms of that. I don't think he's going to get those good breaks. And sometimes those big pints of drinks or whatever he's having in those things, he might have boiled over. If you listen to his press conference, he certainly had more fun than most going into after last week than he's worried about.
He's probably still hungover this week. So is he not on your board this week because he's still drunk? The Scots play better when they're drunk.
That is true. Beer is their blood, right? I really believe that beer is their blood. But
I can relate.
I'm just going by math. I certainly don't think, especially being a Scotsman, to win and having that pressure. And the last person to do it to win the Scottish Open and the British Open was Phil Mickelson in 2013.
All right. Okay, so let's get into it. Who we got this week? And you always give some great reasons why. So I'm looking forward to this. Grab your pens and pencils or your iPads or whatever and start writing down. Let's go.
We don't have our full card this week. We're going to post that tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll talk about it on the show on From the Rough podcast, but we certainly be pushing out on Twitter. But I'm going to give you some guys that I really like. And there's a grouping that I really would be surprised if the winner doesn't come out of this group. And all 3 guys are really going to be on our card. I don't know how I'm going to play them yet. Okay. But when was the last time you had Brooks Koepka at 50-1? I mean, is this not a spot for Brooks Koepka at 50-1 in the odds? He's very much under the radar, and patience is the key for him.
Yeah.
So, I think it's going to take, depending on the weather and the wind, I think it's going to take about 12 under to win. And there's no better guy that just can plot around this place and kind of have some patience like Brooks Koepka. I think he has the experience, and you got to realize his professional career started over there for 4 years. So the weather's not really going to bother him. He played in the European Tour and the Challenge Tour for 4 or 5 years before he came back over. So looking at Koepka getting there at 50-1, there's certainly some value there. I think he's the best value on the board. I really like the form Wyndham Clark is coming in. I thought he played solid last week. We had him on our card. He had a chance right there
Yeah.
And he hasn't played well all week. So you're going to fit him in that spot. I think right now he's about at that 50-1 mark, also maybe 45-1. I really think there's great value there. I'm not really sure if he's kind of tamed down his temperament. He's, if you watch him at the, so much high expectations after the great 12 months that he's really had, I think his attitude kind of got the best of him. But the guy grew up in Oregon, right? So he's going to look at this weather as something that's very similar. So the weather is not going to be a factor to him. And it's all going to be dependent on the draw. They play at 9:37. And you can never count out Hideki Matsuyama in a major. He's always played well here. He hits the ball high. I don't think it's going to be super windy. But it's going to be 15-30, but 15-20. You never really know over there. So look at those guys. There's another guy to keep on your radar. And over the past 4 months, from strokes tee to green, he's ranked 4th on the PGA Tour. If you look at his success, look at Aaron Rai. He's had some success. He won the Scottish Open about 3 or 4 years ago when it was very windy. He's had some success in the British Open. So look for him to be on our card. We'll see where we're going to put him. Might be a top 10 pick, might be a top 20 pick. It just depends on his odds.
He shot 63 on Sunday?
63 on Sunday. Yeah, that's right. So
the Scottish Open, yeah.
Looking at those 4 guys certainly is going to be in our radar. There's a couple guys that I think certainly will not be on our radar, as you mentioned. Bob McIntyre probably won't be on our card. And the biggest wild card in the field when it comes to major championship and is windy, and we talk about this all in time, is Colin Morikawa. Colin Morikawa, when it's not windy, he won his major championships in the Northeast, and he won his British Open in conditions that were not windy. Like it looked like they were like last week. That's why he had some success last week. But when the wind blows, he's the highest spin player on the PGA Tour. So, when you get something like that and it's very windy, I don't like him in the field. But again, this could go either way. I'm going to look at him. I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to him. I hate putting him on my card just because of that volatility, because you just can't really do on the wind. But he's the guy that's kind of the biggest wild card, in my opinion, in this week.
So explain why high spin players don't fare well in the wind.
So when you're a high spin player in the wind, their ball can curve a lot of different ways. If you hit it off the heel or the toe, it overspins in one direction. And also, if you don't get a center face, it spins higher. So when he spins it the way he doesn't hit a heavy ball. When we mean a heavy ball, it doesn't hit a hard ball like a Koepka. He does not a piercing through the wind. So when you have those variances and you get a left or right, especially in a left or right wind, he struggles in a left or right wind because he cuts the ball. So any off-center hits is really going to emphasize that. And some of these angles and some of these dog legs with the heather and the gorse and all that stuff, I think when it gets windy, he's going to struggle because he doesn't have the ability like the other guys to hit it lower when he wants to. So that's really where I'm at. Like I said, you look at him last week at the Scottish Open, he played well because there was no wind. He wasn't on our card. So he's the biggest wild card for me. I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to it. But if there's going to be a bust, in my opinion, I think it's going to be Colin Morikawa.
What about Bryson? What do you think about DeChambeau?
I think here's the thing with Bryson that's very intriguing. I've been watching the coverage for the last couple of days. This golf course takes his biggest strength out of his hands is the driver. It really does. And I think strategically, I think he's been able to tone it down. But if you look today, I was watching some insight coverage. He took driver on the first 2 holes, which are downwind holes, and he's hitting it over the green. The first 4 holes are going to be 4 par 4s that play under 400 yards. Okay. So he's hitting driver and he's hitting over the greens, but over these greens, he can't play from there because there's too much heather and gorse. So I think the biggest aspect, the biggest strength in Bryson DeChambeau is taking the driver out of his bag, and that's his biggest strength. So
yeah, that's a good point.
And also, you can't really make any money on him. You're not going to be able to make any money on him. He's going to be one of the top 3 or 4 favorites. You're not going to make money on him, Rory, or Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler is a guy that probably won't be on our card for probably the same reason. He's had one top 10 finish in 4 starts in the British Open. I'm not sure he loves it. I'm not so sure he doesn't love it. Any place this guy goes, he can play golf. His game travels probably better than anyone I've seen in a long time since Tiger on the PGA Tour because he chips the ball so well. So you're looking at those guys, Rory, Bryson, and Scotty, probably won't be on our card just because you can't make any money. Yeah. Just can't make any money on them.
Have you played Troon?
I have. Yeah. I played it. Yeah. I played a lot over there in my younger years competitively and over there. I don't like that type of golf for me. When I was playing competitive, I didn't like it. I it messed up my personal life. I like going out. I didn't like the food. I didn't like anything. So that just kind of took me out of a lot of things. And being out there.
You're not a friend of haggis. You don't like the haggis.
I'll pass on that. And being out there on the golf course when it's been so bad, you don't want to be out there for 5 or 6 hours, right? You just want to kind of get your work done. And I wasn't ever a guy to sit in the hotel room either. So my options were go to a place that had terrible food, go to the hotel. I mean, the pubs were fine, but they didn't have Tito's. They didn't have Tito's back then when I was there. So I was kind of out.
Sometimes when there's only one pickle in the pickle jar, you just got to eat that pickle.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true. All right, partner. Well, we will be retweeting your entire card for this week tomorrow when it comes out. So we thank you for jumping on here, my friend, and telling us about your disdain for Scottish food.
That's right. Well, I appreciate you having me on. We're going to have a great week. JP, follow the picks every week. You'll be a winner this week.
All right.
Hey, Johnny.
Yes.
F you.
I was surprised I didn't get that when I came on the first time, just as an intro. I was surprised that just didn't happen.
You got to play the whole thing.
Yeah.
You, F you, F you, and F you. Peace out. I'm going to go have a Guinness.
Here's Johnny.
Well, you're going to be praising. You're going to be praising me this week. Play the whole card though, JP. Just don't play the matchups. Play the whole card.
I made my flight arrangements for the trip to Dublin, so we will be there on set. As close as we possibly can get in Dublin. So,
next year the British Open is in Northern Ireland, so maybe we can do that.
Where are they
playing?
From now? Where are they
Royal
playing?
Portrush.
Oh,
next year. So
yeah, we played there. That's where they had it a few years ago, right? Yeah,
they did. That's where Lowry.
What a golf course that is! Holy moly, that thing!
It's hilly. It's hilly. People don't realize how hilly it is.
Incredible elevation changes.
Yeah.
All through the course. It's incredible. Those places are just. It's such eye candy. Sometimes you get lost in that, and then you got to go hit a shot. But super fun. Oh, by the way, they just opened the Top Tracer range here at Rogers Park. I did a couple demos that are up on social media. What's different, most of these simulators are indoors, and you're hitting into a net. This one, you're actually at a range, so you can actually see your ball go and get more feedback. Which I like. I actually like that. It's better than hitting into the net, and it's more realistic. But you can also do the virtual courses. It's really freaking cool. Have you seen? Do you have that at one of your ranges?
We don't have it at our facility in Columbus, and I've only seen one. I think they have one in Dallas. I'm not exactly sure where it is, but it is really cool. My question is, why did they put it at Rogers Park? It just seems like a different, interesting place to put it.
Well, Rogers, they have 3 municipal courses because the city did this. They have Babe Zaharias, Rogers Park, and Rocky Point. Okay. And so Rogers Park has kind of been their baby. It's not in the affluent neighborhoods. I'll just put it that way. So they really tried to pour into that neighborhood and make it something really special. The city has, and I commend them for it.
Yeah.
And they've come up with a real gem. Gary Koch and Steve Smyers designed their short course out there, and the first tee paid for the whole thing. It was, I think, over $1 million or something like that. It was, and they raised the money. It brought in Jack Nicklaus and a bunch of the first tee did, and they do these Fred Ridley, and they do these huge fundraisers at Palma Sea at my club, and literally have raised millions of dollars for the first tee and poured it all back into these young kids, and they're doing wonderful things at the first tee. And some of the numbers of kids that they're putting through there and the lives that they're changing is just incredible. And they put their money where their mouth is at Rogers Park. So you got this beautiful short course. The 18-hole course actually goes, they have 3 or 4 holes to go right along the Hillsborough River. And now they've put this Top Tracer range in, which is the only one in the area. It's phenomenal. And I hope the people support it and go out there. $25 most days for an hour, including balls. That's ridiculous. That's a steal.
Wow. Yeah, and you go to Topgolf. You go to Topgolf. You can't even buy a bucket of beer for $25 at Topgolf, right?
True. Yeah,
good for Tampa.
They have food and drink prices that were actually normal. It's not, everything's not hugely elevated.
And they got a bar outside where you're hitting balls. Yeah. You just got to walk a few feet over to the bar.
So, you sold me on that. That was a selling point. I'm in. You sold me on that.
It's really, tremendously done. And the city has poured a lot of money into it. So there's some subsidy there. So take advantage of it. Take advantage of it and get out there and support go to rogersparkgolf.net And it's to me, it's super unique that you combine the top tracer. They have one here in Claremont, not far from where I am. And it's just, you can't even get a reservation. It overlooks the lake, and it's just beautiful, much like this one. And they have a practice area at Rogers Park. It's great. I highly recommend it. So get your butts out there and check it out.
Good for Tampa. That's a great opportunity. First Tee program is just a fantastic program. We have one here at my facility here in Kansas City. So great opportunity to change the lives of kids for sure. Good for Tampa for doing that.
Yeah, Gary Koch has been instrumental in that, and really, really has done a great job with it. All right, partner. Enjoy the week. Let's make some money. And the British Open is always played on my birthday, July 18th. So normally it's like the final round. So I get to sit down and watch golf all day, but it's Thursday. So I'll probably just sit down and watch golf.
That's how the Masters is around my birthday. Usually
there you go.
Too, yeah.
Like, what a great day. Just hang out and watch golf all day. That's fantastic.
Awesome. That's
all right, guys.
It's going to suck whenever they remove the British Open as a major and replace it with the Players.
No. Here we go.
Shut up.
Yeah,
I'm getting a petition. I'm starting the petition.
He thinks the Byron Nelson should be the next major.
I never said
JP,
that.
So
it's the Players
kind of where we're at. But see what I have to deal with.
No respect, man. No respect for the traditions of golf.
Screw Britain. Screw everything over there. History started in 1776. Anything before that was a mistake. All right?
Dude, I'm pro-America, but Jesus, you're out of here.
JP, it was great talking golf with you, buddy. Have a great week. I'll talk to you on your birthday.
You talk with this knucklehead every day on the
see what I deal with? See what I deal with.
Yin and yang.
You want more of this BS? You can listen to From the Rough tomorrow at 5 o'clock Central Time on FanStream Sports. That's all we do.
Who wouldn't want to listen to that? Absolutely, 100%. Great show. You guys, one of the best podcasts in America. Top 20 podcasts, golf podcasts in America. There you go. All right, Johnny. Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate it, guys. Good week.
$50.
You'll never see that money.
I gotta give him shit. The dude's 51-21 or whatever, and I bet the matchup tonight.
You brought it down.
It's me.
You collapsed the whole system.
I am the curse. What do you see a collapse this week? I'm going to bet the whole card across the board. He's going to be like over. He's going to be like over. And we'll be here next week, and I'll be like, sorry.
Usually we only go over like when our cards like cross somehow, but it hasn't been that way the last couple of weeks. So
yeah. Oh my God. We'll see the full experiment on display. We'll do all the picks tomorrow when he puts them out. We'll have them on the show tomorrow, and then we'll be cashing money on Sunday, or not.
Cashing checks and snapping necks.
John Hill says, I did not see this, that Tiger Woods is practicing with wedges covered in rust, since it provides a softer feel and impact.
Okay, number one, I think the reason Tiger Woods is practicing with irons covered in rust is because he's trying to find his game, and he sucks at golf nowadays. So he's just trying to find.
He doesn't even practice anymore, so his wedges have rust all over them.
Apparently so, just like his game.
Once again, I'm a trailblazer. I've been practicing with rusty wedges my whole life.
Because I can't afford to replace them.
Right. Once again, trailblazer. I've been there all my life.
Tiger's copying your practice methods, JP.
I never get enough credit. I just don't. Big deal. Big what? Now you're coming with rusty wedges? Come on. I've been doing that for 25 years. What's wrong with you?
Idiots.
Sweet spot's just worn out on my wedges.
I've never hit the sweet spot on mine.
Because I bought them used. True story. All right, let's take a break. I'm gonna hit one more break here, and then nice we can. It's 11:58. My God, time is when you're having fun.
We're done. Yeah,
I want to definitely tell you once again about it. My good friends at Third Generation AC and Plumbing, John Rodriguez, one of our new sponsors here. They do great AC and plumbing work since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. When you call a plumber or an AC guy, you're going to have to pay some money, right? But you just want an honest deal. You don't want them to try and sell you a new unit when all you need is the drain cleaned, right? Happens all the freaking time in the AC business, people. So you got to have somebody you trust, and that's Third Generation Services. John Rodriguez, again, they've been around for 3 generations in Tampa. They're proud of it. Boy, he told me some great stories about his family back in the day. Incredible stuff. In the building of the city of Tampa. So check out their 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 or just Google thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Great folks over there. And we mentioned Rogers Park. We did all that. And Hydrate Heroes. Don't forget about your Hydrate Heroes, folks. Try hydrateheroes.com to get your free 3-pack. All right. Anything we missed?
I don't think so. Go Britain. Yay, Britain. And you're open.
I love their golf. Everything else.
I hate their golf.
You can. We're flying to London for the first 2 days, so we're gonna enjoy.
That'll be fun.
London. Be fun. That one of the best museums in the world. They've got great museums in London. I'm a museum guy. The War Museum, simply called the War Museum. It is amazing. So
I'll drink some warm beer.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Thank you, Timmy. Appreciate you. Don't forget, folks, to like and subscribe on our YouTube page. We want to get those subscriptions up, please, to JP Peterson Show and FanStream Sports. Also, don't forget about our podcast. You can always listen to this as a podcast. Huge thanks to Shelton Quarles, who joined us today to talk about Monty Kiffin and the current Bucs, and Steve and Scott Reynolds as well. If you missed anything, go check it out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you can. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.